Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Search continues for missing Denham Town men. Police continues to target major crime players in St. Catherine North Police Division. And later in sports, Jamaica hunts more medals on day 5 of World Championships. I'm Anthony Lugg. Here are the details. Up first this afternoon, the Denham Town Police is this afternoon continuing its search for 4 men who went missing over the weekend. The men, who are feared dead by their relatives, were last seen on Friday. Jamila Maitland reports.
A search is now underway for 4 men from Denham Town in West Kingston. Christopher Murray, otherwise called Banga or Trey of Bond Street, 30-year-old Junior Riley, also of Bond Street, 23-year-old Jerry Campbell, otherwise called Quasi of Pink Lane, and another man who remains unidentified were last seen in the community on Friday.
Families wait idle outside the compound of the Jamaica Railway Corporation here in downtown Kingston as police investigators search the abandoned property for 4 men who went missing from Denham Town over the weekend. Now, several vehicles have been seen going in and out of the compound with police officers and investigators. However, up to Monday evening, we were not told if the police officers had indeed found the men.
During a search for the men, we were led here at an abandoned Jamaica Railway Corporation property. By nightfall, we observed soldiers entering the compound. Head of the Denham Town Police Station, SSP Michael Phipps, says the area is being secured for searching over the next couple of days. There have been reports that the compound, which is the old Public Works Department, or PWD for short, is a haven for criminals. Shallow graves have been sighted. And in the case of the 4 missing men, our news team was reliably informed that 2 areas appear to have been freshly dug. Families say they believe the men were killed and their bodies dumped.
My baby asked my mommy we try there. We try. Baby, me no know we try there. Oh God.
So you ever hear him involved in anything?
No, the first this we are here. If something do happen, we not here until this will happen now. War gone. You know say war gone in West Kingston, man and man war. My brother go everywhere. My brother go everywhere and we tell him say try mind yourself. We good man, but they say him don't try to come to we and reason with we. If we hear someone, we grab him up and say, try, really. Everything alright, man. Everything alright, man, because we call him say him mad.
Reports are that the men might have been caught stealing in the downtown area. Police officials could not confirm, but are calling for people with information to assist in the investigation. Jamila Maitland, TVJ News.
At least 4 illegal guns have been recovered and a significant amount of ammunition seized in the St. Catherine North Police Division, a signal that operational activities are still high despite the ending of the state of public emergency.
The crime measure, which ended on June 30, was imposed due to the spate of murders within the 31 Johns Road area and the brazen afternoon shootings in the old capital of Spanish Town. Deputy Superintendent of Police in charge of operations for the division, Linroy Edwards, says targeted operations are ongoing in the area to catch the major players in the upsurge in crime. He pointed to the recent capture of 30-year-old Rudolph Shaw in the Cayman Islands. Mr. Shaw, who fled Jamaica by boat, is wanted in connection with multiple murders and several shootings in the St. Catherine North and South Police Divisions.
We're still in search of other players, and we will continue these operational activities and continue to keep St. Catherine North, particularly Spanish Town, and restore it to what it used to be, more tranquil than the previous month, which is May and June.
DSP Edwards says some of the checkpoints which were set up during the SOE are still in place.
We still continue to stop and search vehicles that are suspected of being involved in criminal activities, and we maintain our checkpoints as to restrict the movements of these criminals around the thoroughfares.
He says apart from the JDF, partnerships have been formed with other sections of the Jamaica Constabulary Force to ensure that communities which have seen an upsurge in violence in recent months are patrolled on a 24-hour basis. Also included are the business and market districts within the police division. According to the JCF crime statistics, 78 people were murdered in the St. Catherine North Police Division since the start of the year, up to July 16. This is 23 more than the corresponding period in 2021. It is second to St. James with 116 murders. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
The crime wave is escalating in Seaforth, St. Thomas, and several residents say they've been receiving death threats. It comes after 3 persons were shot and injured in separate incidents in the community over the weekend. Kelisha Williams has that story.
The aftermath of a violent confrontation, shattered glass and bullet holes paint a grim picture of the tension at Blacksmith Lane in Seaforth, St. Thomas. It's where 29-year-old Christopher Graham was sitting over the weekend when he was sprayed with bullets. We were told Mr. Graham was in his backyard when residents heard several loud explosions. Residents said the police were quick on the scene, but their weapons were no match for the attackers.
The police, them have to come cover with, them have to take cover with we in the house. Two local police, them have to lock up in the house with we. Because the amount of gunmen and a big long gun they have. 2 local police couldn't help, couldn't do nothing. And a human being just like we. Couldn't make send out the 2 local police to go kill off themselves. You understand? All the man them a call for backup. All them a call for backup. No help for we. No help for we.
Mr. Graham was later found with several injuries to his upper right arm and was taken to hospital for treatment. But even before the dust could settle on that incident, about 5 minutes later, the gunmen continued their rampage at another section of the community. This time, a 17-year-old boy, Joel Cadrington, was shot in his right knee while standing in his yard. He was treated at hospital and released. Then from homes to the church. 2 hours later, around 9:45 p.m., the police said they were on mobile patrol on the Seaforth main road when they were pounced upon by 4 men armed with rifles and handguns. They said the men opened fire at the police and they returned fire. No member of the police party was injured. However, it is unclear if any of the gunmen sustained injuries. Now on Tuesday, residents told TVJ News that the area is still tense. They also said several people have been receiving death threats. The Seaforth police have been trying to restore calm in the community. Kelisha Williams, TVJ News.
The long-awaited privatization and relocation of the Riverton City dump in St. Andrew should be one step closer to completion this year. Since the 2016 announcement, the Solid Waste Enterprise Committee led by Littleton Shirley has been accused of dragging its feet through the process.
In our 60th year, we will be able to say that it is our intention to decommission the Riverton City dump. So you're going to be hearing more about that. And you're going to also hear about the divestment of the collection of garbage, which will mean you will be now bringing in private sector know-how, private sector management to collect garbage.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness adds that the Solid Waste Management Authority would then be responsible for regulation. He was speaking recently at a JLP Central Executive Committee meeting in St. James. Meanwhile, with preparations being made for the new school year in September, Mr. Holness reiterated that the no tuition fee policy is still in effect. The Prime Minister says schools were given their allocations from the Education Ministry while classes were held online.
Schools, especially those who feel that their parents, because of the impact of the pandemic and the inflation, that they may see a fall off in their budget and maybe saying, well, we're going to try to recover this by putting in place exclusionary measures, such as children going back to school in September, being told you can't come to school because your parents didn't pay the school fee. That should not and will not be allowed to happen in Jamaica.
And it's time now for a break, but stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to Midday News and thanks for staying with us. And we go now to a look at what's happening in the financial world. Here's Cody and Barrett with a Business Minute.
In the world of business, e-commerce company Mailpack has entered into an operational partnership with Virtual Mart. The deal will see the grocery delivery arm of the group Mailpack Local offer services for the sourcing and delivery of groceries and household items from its website. Virtual Mart will execute end-to-end order fulfillment on behalf of Mailpack Local. Uber has agreed to pay more than $2 million to settle claims brought by the U.S. government that its wait time fees discriminated against customers with disabilities. The firm also agreed to waive charges for disabled users in the future. More than 1,000 people have complained about the fees, which often kick in if it takes more than 2 minutes to get into the car. Uber said its policy was to refund wait fees for disabled riders. With the Business Minute, I'm Cody and Barrett.
And a closer look at the death penalty this afternoon in the wake of the recent killing of a woman and her 4 children in Clarendon. Last month, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, took steps to ensure that it can ask for the death penalty for Rashane Barnett, the man charged with the murders. But, as you'll hear in this report, the debate continues about whether people who commit certain crimes should be put to death.
Jamaicans from all walks of life are set to embark on the grounds of Cocoa Peace in Clarendon to pay final respects to the victims of the mass murder in the parish that sent shockwaves across the nation. A family of 5, including an 18-month-old baby, killed on the night of June 21, 2022. Another family member has since been charged with the crime. The massacre has since sparked a national outpouring of rage, with calls for the death penalty reaching a fever pitch.
I can't think of any other case that could be worse than this one. I don't know why the human rights activists are distancing themselves from the rest of Jamaica on this one. This man killed a baby that was being clutched in the hands of another child, and he killed those other children as well, and he killed the woman. This is not a man that needs the assistance of any human rights organizations.
He will just go to prison and spend some time, even life, amen, and walk around in prison and eat government food while the victim and their families can suffer, amen, as a result of the loss of their loved one. So my view on capital punishment is that I am for it 110%.
The last execution in Jamaica was on February 18, 1988, when Nathan Foster and Stanford Denham were hanged for murder. During his final days in the death cell, Mr. Denham received spiritual guidance from the Reverend Father Brian Harry and penned a written message which reads in part,
"So I am telling all youths to count to 100 before you do anything foolish and leave company alone. Take heed. It's not easy where I am at present. I pray to God they will spare my life. I am over the death cells. God help me. I pray."
So 34 years since the last execution was carried out, and human rights activist Carla Glotta is hoping it stays that way.
If a state kills, how you can defend the principle not to kill? If nobody can kill and nobody can kill, there should be no shortcut.
No man can judge no man. So every judgment, leave unto God.
In spite of a push worldwide by human rights bodies to bring an end to the death penalty, in some countries the practice is reserved as punishment for some of the most gruesome crimes. The list includes the United States, China, and Iran. But could the use of the death penalty have a negative impact on Jamaica globally? The question was put to the former Jamaican ambassador to the United Nations, Ambassador Curtis Ward.
Should Jamaica impose the death penalty? How would it impact us on the global stage?
I don't think it will actually affect Jamaica on the global stage.
Capital punishment remains on the books in Jamaica, but may only apply in certain aggravated murder convictions. For TVJ News, I'm Cody Ann Barrett.
And time now for a look at the top regional and international stories.
In the region, Belize has launched its National Child Labour Policy and Strategy 2022-2025 amid concerns that an estimated 5,000 children are engaged in some form of work that presents a real danger to their physical, mental and moral well-being. The authorities say the policy document will seek to bridge key legislative gaps over the next 3 years and increase penalties while providing children with necessary educational and financial support required. The document was launched yesterday by the Ministry of Labour in collaboration with the International Labour Organization and contains data on the child labour situation in Belize based on surveys conducted over the last 2 decades. On the international scene, as parts of Europe grapple with wildfires, droughts, and record-breaking temperatures, travel plans for many have been put on hold. Yesterday, one of UK's largest airports suspended flights after high temperatures damaged the runway. London Luton Airport announced that essential repairs were required after the high heat essentially caused a small section to lift. The UK Ministry of Defence says during this period of extreme temperature, flight safety remains the top priority, so aircraft are using alternative fuels in line with a long-established plan. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Sandy Williams.
And we head now to a quick break. When we return, we'll have your midday sports report. Jermaine Brown is standing by.
Welcome back. It's now time for your lunchtime sports, and we head to where else but Eugene, Oregon in the USA, where Jamaica will be looking to increase its medal tally at the World Athletics Championships on day 5. 5 finalists are set to compete in 3 events today. Now, national record holder Lamar Distin and national champion Kimberly Williamson will contest the women's high jump at 7:40 p.m. 2019 World Championship silver medalist Frederick Dacres and compatriot Travis Smykel will line up in the men's discus final. And Jahil Hyde will run from lane 7 in the men's 400-meter hurdles final, and that gets going at 9:50 p.m. Meanwhile, in other events today, 100-meter champion Shelly Fraser-Price with 22.26 seconds, 100-meter silver medalist Sharika Jackson at 22.33, and Olympic champion Elaine Thompson-Hera with 22.41 will contest the semifinals of the women's 200 meters. Now, Jackson will line up in semifinal 1 at 8:05 p.m. Thompson-Hera will contest semifinal 2 at 8:15 p.m. Fraser-Price, the 2013 World 200-meter champion, will contest semi-final 3 at 8:25 p.m. In the men's equivalent, 2012 Olympic silver medalist Johan Blake is slated for semi-final 1 at 8:50, while Tokyo Olympic finalist Rashid Dwyer will contest semi-final 3, and that is slated for 9:10. Action gets underway at 7:05 with the women's 400-meter hurdles, featuring 3 Jamaicans, the heats that is. Now, Jamaica's men's lacrosse team has qualified for the 2023 Lacrosse World Cup after defeating the U.S. Virgin Islands 5-4 at the Pan American qualifiers in Colombia on Monday. The win followed Jamaica's 7-2 victory over Colombia on Sunday to secure a spot in the semifinals, which automatically qualified the country for the World Cup. The lacrosse team is now Jamaica's second men's sports team after the Crocs in rugby sevens to qualify for 2 senior World Cups. Now, this is Jamaica's 3rd World Cup qualification this calendar year after the Crocs in rugby sevens and, of course, the Reggae Girls in football. And speaking of the Reggae Girls, well, they'll play Canada in next year's Confederation playoff for the 2024 Olympics in Paris after their 1-0 extra time win over Costa Rica, which saw them secure 3rd place at the CONCACAF Women's Championship in Monterrey, Mexico on Monday evening. It was the Costa Ricans who had the better of the early exchanges. The Jamaicans also had their chances, especially in the second half, but the game remained locked at 0-all after full time. Now, Kayla Van Zenten then found the all-important goal in first half extra time to ensure the Jamaicans finished 3rd for a 2nd consecutive outing at the championship. Van Zenten also reflected, no, this was Van Zenten's maiden goal for Jamaica. Now, the Reggae Girls will now oppose Canada, who lost 1-0 to the USA in the championship final last night. They'll square off in the home and away Olympic playoffs in September 2023, with the winner advancing to the 2024 Paris Olympic Games. In addition to qualifying for the World Cup, well, the USA booked their spot to the Olympic Games as well as automatic qualification to the next Gold Cup. And that is it for your lunchtime sports report, and I am Jermaine Brown.
All right, thank you very much, Jermaine Brown. And that's the Midday News. I'm Anthony Lugg. Join us at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.